David Braziel is a poet and writer, originally from England, who has been living in County Armagh for over 30 years. He has run out of interesting things to say about himself. That's okay, we'll do a whip round. His star sign is Libra, but like all Librans, he thinks horoscopes are stupid. David is reading Time Out.
Thank you. From across the cafe, I saw Pete spot the young woman who'd just come through the door, and I knew we were in trouble. I'd only sent him up to the counter to get sugar. Although we're the same age, give or take a couple of weeks, his knees work better than mine, and there's nothing wrong with my ears, though. So I could hear the whole conversation unfold while I struggled to get my stick and go and rescue her. "Oh, my poor girl, are you all right?" Pete said as he rushed to her, taking her hand and an elbow as if to stop her from falling. The poor girl blushed but seemed too startled to reply. "Here, let me find you a chair. Are you hurt? Do you need an ambulance?" She must have only been 18 or 19, around my grandson's age, the age Pete's granddaughter would have been. She really didn't know what to do now, but reached a hand tentatively to her face, half expecting, I think, to find that she was bleeding. Pete had already led her to a chair before she found her voice. What do you mean? No, I'm fine. What? Oh, you poor thing, you've clearly been in a terrible accident. Let me call someone." "No, I haven't. I'm fine, honestly." "Oh, but look at your trousers. They're torn to pieces. Were you attacked by wild animals?" Pete pointed to her jeans, which, to be fair, had been shredded. I'd reached the two of them by now and put a hand on Pete's shoulder as the girl replied weakly, No, they're meant to look like that. That's how I bought them." She trailed off as if unable to explain it herself, and then, seeing me, looked startled again. I smiled to reassure her, and at the same time turned Pete and steered him back towards our table. "I'm so sorry, my dear. Please don't mind my friend. He gets very confused. Please forgive him." As Pete had his back to us now, I gave her a knowing look, tapping the side of my head and mouthing the word "confused" again. She relaxed a little then, and her eyes turned from startled to pitying, but her face was still flushed and she looked close to tears as she stepped back into the queue, trying to compose herself. Walking behind Pete towards our table, I noticed his shoulders were trembling, his head was bowed, and as we sat I saw tears in his eyes too, but he wasn't crying. His face glowed in a way I'd known for over 60 years. Suddenly, we were boys again, sitting at the back of Mrs. Wilson's classroom, trying desperately not to laugh at some stupid joke he'd just made. The more we tried, the more giddy and desperate we would become, until one of us cracked, and we would inevitably find ourselves standing in the corridor, waiting for the headmaster. I hadn't seen Pete laugh like that for a while now, and it was so infectious that I started too. For a few minutes we just sat there, shaking silently, tears rolling down our cheeks. "I told her you'd lost your marbles," I hissed, trying to pull us back together again. "Me?" said Pete. "She's the one buying ruined jeans and walking about the streets in them. You're going to get us chucked out of here one day, Peter, I swear to God." "Well, then we'll just have to stand outside." "What, and wait for Mr. Figgins and his slipper?" "We'd have a long wait. That bastard's been dead for 40 years now." And suddenly we were off again, giggling like schoolboys, as our coffee went cold and the cafe windows steamed up, blocking our view of the world outside. Thank you.